Hi everyone. This video I'm going to be reviewing all three of the eyeshadow primers that you can get from E.L.F. And what I've done is I've swatched them kind of on my arm like this, and I pulled just a random color out from my collection. This color right here in the Maybelline Expert Wear Eyeshadow Quad in Chai Latte. Just the dark shade right here. And I used that to swatch on my arm. This one is the just eyelid primer from the dollar section of E.L.F. section. I don't know what else you would call it, but the middle one here is the mineral eyeshadow primer from the mineral collection from E.L.F. And the top one here is from the Studio line. It's called the Eye Primer and Liner Sealer, and that's the one on top right there. These are all kind of similar in the sense that they are all kind of a flesh tone, but this one kind of disappear into your skin, and I will talk more about that as I get to this review. Anyway, I'm going to get started. The first one I'm going to start with is the dollar one, just called the E.L.F Eyelid Primer, and I think that this is one of the cutest bottles ever. It's just, I don't know why, but I really, really like it. But anyway, this is very comparable to L'Oreal Decrease Primer, so it's great for people with oily eyelids. And my skin is very, very bipolar, so sometimes I'll have really greasy eyelids, sometimes they'll be just really dry and gross, and so it all just depends on the day when I use these. But anyway, so remember that one is this one. As you can see, kind of on the end here where I kind of started, where I put my brush to start putting the color there, it's much darker at the ends and just kind of gets lighter in the middle. And that's because this dries a little bit tackier than the rest, so it'll grab onto it as soon as you touch it. And it's kind of hard to blend out, but you can do it eventually with enough work. So that's that one. The color payoff I think is really good. It's, you know, similar to the other one, and it's similar to how it looks in the pan. And this lasts all day. I've never had any problems with creasing or anything with that one. But if that changes, I will let you know. Alright, the second one I'm going to do is the Mineral Eyeshadow Primer. And that one's the middle one right here. This formula is, if you can hear that, a lot wetter than the first one. This is a lot like Too Faced Shadow Insurance, where it's less is definitely more. Like, you only need a very small amount and it will go everywhere. So that's what's good about this one. This is $3 at eyeslipsface.com. The color payoff I think is just as good as the first one, and you know, they both look very similar, except this is kind of a bit smoother, as you can see. It's easier to blend out a little better, I think, and it dries. It just makes your eyelid smooth, unlike the first one, which makes your eyelid kind of tacky. So those are those two, and I really recommend those two. And I'm going to get to this one, the Studio Eye Primer, on this end. It looks just like that, and it reminds me of their all-over cover sticks. In this one is apricot beige. So my first thought while putting this on was it might as well just be kind of a greasy concealer. And they both smell the same. I know E.L.F has their scent called like sugar orange or like sugar vanilla or something like that, which I like. I'm not sensitive to scents or anything, so that doesn't bother me. But what bothers me with this one is when I put it on, it is very obvious I have something there, and when you blend it out, you can still tell that I put something on there. It doesn't go invisible like the other two, which is why this top one, which is that one, it's kind of dulled out in color. It makes the color a little bit lighter and much duller. And another thing that bothers me is when I do this with my finger, this doesn't dry. You can see it kind of smudged on top when these two stayed put for the most part. I mean, I realize you're not going to be doing that with your eye, but if you like accidentally, you know, rub your eye on your hand or anything else should happen, it's not going to stay in one spot. And I also noticed a couple of times when I've used this, so much creasing. You know, it's kind of towards the end of summer, and that's when I used it, and it just creased so bad with my sweaty eyelids, and it reminds me a lot of those CoverGirl Shadow Blast things, which are terrible, by the way. It reminds me a lot of that. You just put it on, it doesn't dry. It'll hold on to your shadow pretty well, I mean, as long as it doesn't move, which I can't guarantee it won't. So that's how I feel about that one. And the liner sealer I haven't used a whole lot, so I can't really put a decent review on that one. Okay, so if I had to pick a favorite, I would definitely pick the mineral eyeshadow one. This one's the $3 one. And I pick it because it is smooth. You can still blend your color and it will still stick to the primer. It's very comparable to Too Faced Shadow Insurance. And it just feels really smooth going on. But if I have oily eyelids that day, the regular $1 one works just as well. Okay, that's the end of this review. All of these products can be found on eyeslipsface.com. However, the $1 one I did find at the Target where my parents live. I live 4 hours away from there, and there's nothing from E.L.F at the Target, which kind of bothers me, but oh well, what can you do? So that's where I got it. So it might be available at some Target stores, it might not. If it's not, just feel free to go online and check it out. Alright, well thank you for watching this video. Have a great night.